It's always handy when you can take your steering wheel off to get out of the car, which in something like this I think is crucial. It is one of the coldest days of the year by far. We are well into the minuses and the frost is thick. So naturally, I've decided to get out my doorless, windowless V8 powered track car for the road. Hello and welcome to the Westfield SEight. Yesterday, you joined me with what I can only really describe as a bright green Widowmaker. It's a 1998 Westfield SEight and we're going to have a look on the outside, under the bonnet, inside-ish, and then we're going to get it out on the road, which will be interesting in conditions like this. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the model, Westfield in general, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I think. So let's crack on. Now, I know the question you're probably thinking, and it's a common one. In fact, if I had £1 for every time someone had asked me that and I've answered since I've been filming this video, I could probably afford to buy this car outright. But no, this is not a Caterham, nor is it some rather unusual Fred in a shed affair. This is an out-and-out production model made by Westfields. So that leaves another interesting question, doesn't it? Who are Westfield? Because they're not exactly as much of a household name as Caterham, but they have been doing pretty much the same thing all the way since 1982. You see, Westfield, like Caterham, took the ideas of the Lotus 7 and ran with them, focusing on track-based, road-legal performance pieces for the driving enthusiast in your life. However, they didn't exactly have the same permissions or licenses that Caterham did, and what resulted was a bit of a nasty litigation and court battle. It was all settled in the end, and the result was pretty much you could carry on building the same sort of stuff as us, but make it a little bit different, which is why this looks vaguely like a Caterham, but is slightly different, almost as if you've ordered a bootleg version over the internet from China. The main way in which a Westfield differs from a Caterham, aside from aesthetic, styling and things of that nature, was in the construction. You see, Caterham moved on from the glass fibre based construction and used stressed aluminium panelling in their bodies, whereas Westfield decided to stick true to form and use glass fibre throughout, making for some incredibly light performance pieces. Westfield have made some seriously notorious models over the years, and as I say, they're not as much of a household name, but they do have some epic things in their roster, and arguably this is the most notorious of them all. So let's have a proper delve into it. The SEight was born in the early 1990s, 1991 to be precise, and was manufactured all the way up until 2010. It was one of the brand's most successful models and arguably, as I said, most notorious. It boldly answered the question you didn't know you needed the answer to. What if my incredibly lightweight track-focused performance car had a thumping great V8 in the front? The recipe was simple, with lightweight construction being the key to this. You need to offset that big 8-cylinder lump in the front, and so, as I say, Westfields are primarily glass fibre based, but what isn't glass fibre appears to be carbon fibre on this particular example. As a result, this car, despite having a V8 engine, weighs only 660 kilograms, meaning when I need to adjust it for a camera shot, I can pretty much push it exactly where I need, and it's far easier than getting in and out, especially with this external roll cage. So lightweight construction, a V8 engine, a track focus setup, but yet I don't think this is the car that's used exclusively on the track. This isn't for the budding racer in your life, in my opinion. Now, they're going to want something a little bit better balanced, with a slightly smaller engine in the front that you could throw into a corner as quickly as you can get out of one. So why go to all this trouble? What is the point of the SEight, and why is it still arguably one of their most successful models? Well, I think it's rather simple. It's absolutely bonkers. It's endearing. This is the car for someone who, on a nice sunny day, probably a bit warmer than today, wants to get out and go for a blast on a country lane and a B road and just smile from ear to ear. There's going to be incredible throttle response. It's a lot of fanfare. It's grand, especially in this Mercedes metallic Tango AMG green. It's just an incredibly epic thing. It doesn't necessarily have a sole purpose. It is a toy, let's be real, but probably all Westfields are. You're not going to see someone using one every day unless you're really committed to the cause. Let's have a quick look at the cabin of the Westfield. What's it like? Well, it's rewardingly simple, that's for sure, and it's exactly what you want. Yet it is, as I say with the rest of the car, a bit of a blank canvas. You can tailor this to your needs. Obviously, a lot of things are very much interchangeable because it's so simplistic in here. This particular example seems to have been very well balanced between out-and-out aggressive track-style performance driving and a little bit of touring. For example, I've got sports style seating, yes, with harnesses for when I really push it into a corner, but for when I'm going in a straight line at a more gentle pace on a longer distance, I've got a little bit of padding. I've even got contrast stitching with green effect all over here on the side panels and in the center tunnel. It's quite a pleasant place to be, and it's actually, believe it or not, quite comfortable. I could go on a journey of more than, say, a mile and a half and still feel my spine, which is a lot more than I could say for a lot of the Lotus 7 Caterham-esque vehicles. And here lies the belly of the beast. What makes this SE8 an 8? The V8 engine. Now, typically, a lot of these SE8s would have gone down the generic British V8 route and had a 3.5 litre Rover V8, which is a good engine. But what if you wanted a little bit more? Well, you could get one of these, a 3.9 litre TVR derived V8 engine, largely seen in things like the Chimera. It brought power right the way up to 306 brake from standard, but were very, very susceptible to tuning and aftermarket parts. This particular example has a 4-barrel Weber carb and an Offenhauser manifold to take that power figure right the way up into the 300s. Torque isn't far behind it, it's well into the 300s as well at a very early point in the rev range. This is an incredibly torquey engine. 0 to 60 is in the low 4 seconds. This is an incredibly quick car, there's no getting around that. So I've had to get a little bit creative with my camera angles for this one, because typically I would film and mount on the windscreen, but I don't have one. Well, I have a carbon fiber shroud, which isn't very good for camera mounts. So I've put you in the footwell, and I'm hoping you can still see me, and quite importantly, I'm hoping you can still hear me. I've microphoned up, but I think this is going to be a bit of a shouty portion of the video. I've got my lap belt on rather than the harness, because the harness is a little bit too small for me in this coat, and we have got the nice cold November day for a 3.9 litre V8 Westfield. Wow, immediately that's very windy. This is an experience not really like anything else I've driven before. That lack of a windscreen really does hit you awfully. With that giant V8 engine in front of me and less than a ton worth of weight, it really is an animal. Handling is exactly as you'd expect. It is pinpoint sharp. It's really quite disorienting. I can watch exactly where my wheels are going, but I know they are going exactly where I point them. This thing is so concise and direct. I've got wheelwood discs and pads at all 4 corners, and they are keeping me nice and tight. They're really sharp, especially paired with the fact this, as I said, doesn't weigh a lot. Wow, this thing really does have some pickup. Oh my word, what a machine! The Westfield SE8, what do I think? Well, it's fair to say I've worn my heart on my sleeve a little bit with this one. I'm absolutely enamored with it. It's loud, it's raw, it's engaging, it's obnoxious in every sense of the word, and I love it for that. I wouldn't change a thing about this car. If I was going to have one, I think I'd probably spec it much like this. Carbon fibre everywhere, a really exotic metallic colour, and that big 3.9 litre V8 in the front. The only thing I would change is this god-awful windscreen. It's just useless. Yes, you could wear a helmet or some glasses, but everything is just directed directly into my eye line. I think it's useless. I don't think it looks that nice. Just put some glass or some plexiglass in there and you'll be so much better off. But I would have this, that V8 engine Westfield over a smaller engine one or a smaller engine Caterham. I think in the real world, where you're not driving around a Brands Hatch lap every second of every day, this is a far more usable and enjoyable car. You will get that fanfare and that experience that you're craving with a car like this. It's dynamic, it is decently well balanced. Obviously there is a bit of weight with a V8 in the front and only 660 kilo overall weight, but it's not massively noticeable when you're out in the real world. That's why I say this isn't a track car. This is a fun country lane B-road car. That's where it excels, and that's where I'd drive my one if I was going to have one. The Westfield SE8 gets 2 thumbs up from me. Thank you very much for watching the video review of this absolutely mega Westfield. I really do hope you've enjoyed it. If you like this sort of thing, please check out our other video reviews. And remember, if you have a classic car to sell, please get in touch with us at classiccarbuyer.co.uk. We'd love to hear from you. Bye-bye.